and welcome to my book recommendation series. We have discovered by now that I cannot talk about a book in 60 seconds or less. I simply cannot. So I'm re-theming my series into the Michelle's Vivlio Kafe. You know what that means? That is Greek for book cafe. So step in here with me into Michelle's Vivlio Kafe, the book cafe, where my cat will also make an appearance every now and then. Although you smell weird, you have to get down. Where we will sip on our hot chocolate because for some reason it's cold today. We will talk about books, and I will not be limited to 60 seconds. I'll also not make it super crazy long, but Lord knows you could listen to me for a long time because I'm awesome. So get your coffee, get your hot chocolate, get your tea, and come and away with me. That's good. Today, I have a very special book to bring to you, and it is called Refugee. It is by one of my all-time favorite authors. His name is Alan Gratz. I discovered him last summer. I don't know where I have been. I was under a rock or something because he had published multiple books, and I had never read one. And I'm like, oh, and I'm talking like I would download one of his books on my Kindle and be done with it 6 hours later because I just couldn't put it down. That was the only time that I was grateful for plane delays. It gave me more time to read, but they're that good. So he primarily writes historical fiction. This is one of his. So this was one of our beta convention book battle books last year, or excuse me, in January, and that is why I actually read it. Was because it was on the list for book battle and I wanted the kids to read it. So I was like, okay, I'll set a good example and I'll read it. And I read this one and I devoured it. And then I immediately went and read his other ones. So while this Vivlio Kafe talk is mainly about Refugee, I just want to also reference that he does have some really other good books and I will talk about them at the end. But so Refugee is a classic, timeless book. So it's historical fiction, but it also could pertain to current events. It tells the story of three separate refugees and their struggles to escape their homeland for various and sundry reasons and make it to freedom, for lack of a better word. And I won't spoil it for you exactly, but by the end of the book, they all three of the stories connect over across time, which is really cool because you're like, and you're like, oh, I see what you did there. It's like that. So the first character that it follows is a guy named Joseph, a young boy named Joseph, and he is a Jew, in the middle of, the Holocaust, World War II time. He's not actually like in the concentration camps or anything like that, but he and his family, get on a boat to go from Europe to America or to Cuba, and there's a lot of the Cuban border is closed. They can't get off. Like they end up, and then just when they think, so they get, shuttled somewhere else. And there's there's the European sailors on the boat don't like them. And Joseph's father had been in a prison camp. And so he's like got all this whack crap going on in his head because who wouldn't? And so Joseph has to kind of step up and be the man of the family. And it really brings you into that moment of, where do I go from here? And then just when they think they're safe, are they? I don't know. But so it follows his journey. It also follows the journey of a young girl named Isabel, who is a Cuban during the time of Fidel Castro. And it's the moment when Fidel Castro is like, yo, if you want to get out, get out. And they know that they have this small window of time to escape Cuba and make it to Miami. And so she and her family, including her very pregnant mother, and her friend Ivan and his family get into this little rickety boat with the face of Fidel Castro as the bottom of the boat. I'll step on somebody, you might as well step on Castro. And they strike out across the ocean for Miami. And if they get caught at sea, they'll get sent to like a prison area. But if they can make it to the land, they'll be fine. And it is a very harrowing travel. People get sick. There's sharks. There's women giving birth at sea. I mean, ain't no epidurals at sea. and it's just, will they make it? Will they not? Will they all make it? Will they not? So that's, gripping. And then the third refugee story is a little bit more current. It features a boy named Mahmoud, who is a Syrian refugee in about 2015, so that's pretty current. And his family's escape from Syria to try to get Turkey into, Hungary and these other European countries that are accepting refugees and are a little more less war torn. And so he sets out with his mom and dad and his brother and his little baby sister. And along the way, they get, attacked, they get robbed, ripped off. It's just, and it's just like some of us, we take for granted what we have. Like, I mean, right now, like I'm stuck at home quarantining and I'm like pissed about it because I'm like, remember, I don't want to be home. I'm so tired. I can't even go to a video game cavern. Like, remember. But yeah, I may be stuck at home, but I got a nice home. I got food. I got TV. I mean, I'm not struggling. Life is not a struggle. And so Refugee just really kind of is gripping. It's well written. It is well researched, and it will keep you watching. Not watching because it's not a movie. It should be a movie, but it's not. It will keep you reading and turning the pages. And then when you finish Refugee, he has a bunch of other books. Project 1065 is about an Irish boy in Germany during World War II who is a member of the Hitler Youth. But secretly, he and his parents, who are the Irish ambassadors, are spies. And so there's all this like intrigue and hiding a British airman and having to figure out these plans and pretending to be all about, woo, Hitler, I hate Jews, while secretly, I hate Hitler, I love Jews. So it's a really good read. One of my favorites that he's written is called Prisoner B3087, and it is based on a true story, and it follows a boy as he is literally shuttled to every concentration camp during the Holocaust, and he miraculously makes it. And so, spoiler alert, but that's a really good one. It's really, I mean, that'll grip you right there because you read about the Holocaust in a history book, and it's history. Like it's just that happened a long time ago. But when you read this story and you see this boy's trials as he, hides and gets discovered and all this, and he makes it from camp to camp, you're like, oh snap. And then, I mean, he has a bunch of books. His most recent one that's come out is called Allies, and it is about D-Day. And it has features different characters who were involved or adjacent to D-Day at the time. So if you're into historical fiction, get Alan Gratz, especially start with Refugee and then just, work your way through Code of Honor, Grenade. I mean, I didn't even get into many of them. But once you start reading his books, you're not going to be able to put them down. So if you're quarantined and you need something to do, here you go. Because probably, 20 years from now, he's going to write a book called Corona. But anyway, Alan Gratz is a master of historical fiction. He pulls you in. He makes you feel like you were there. So today's recommendation from the Vivlio Kafe, as we drink our hot chocolate, is Refugee. So go download it from your local library, get it from Amazon. You will not regret it. I guarantee it is an amazing read and you're going to love it. And you'll fight me later.